So for the first clip that we have, it's positioning all over the field, whether that's the offensive players, midfielders, or our defensive players. So in this case here, even at the start, we have our right wing, our left wing, one of our midfielders, and then our other midfielder, which should be in this position here. So this is where we should have our other position of our other midfielder. So this player here should be moving back to this space. That would allow the offensive player taking the kickoff to have two options. And as I start the video here, you'll see what we can do. So take the kickoff, player has the ball. As you can see, players start to move down the field. A better positioning for our right wing, as you can see now, is in the path of this defender, would be to be in this path here, giving him a free line with no challenger challenging in the play. So our midfielder here, start it again, searches downfield and then, tries to kick the ball straight ahead. So results in the turnover, as you can see, and then they're on the attack. We'll back it up here. But even after this, try to watch when we watch the film, the white team, the Tigers team, how they take their first touch, right? Their first touch usually is to their feet. It's not bouncing away from them. They also take a first touch to put it into space that is open. So when the ball comes to them, yes, it does go away from them, but they're directing the ball to an open spot on the field intentionally so that they can go to that spot and get the ball. As we've talked about in practice, first touch is very important. Field awareness is very important, as well as, scanning the field and knowing where the other players are. So as you watch the video and I'm explaining, things that we can do better, it's a really good learning opportunity just to watch the white team as well, of how they position themselves, where they're standing on the field, and where they move into open space to help their teammates. So in this case here, I'm going to go ahead and just start it again. And what we have here is our midfielder, which should be protecting the player about to get the ball in the middle of the field, is up with the offensive line. So there's our left wing and there's our midfielder, when our midfielder should be covering this player here to protect this pass from coming. So as you can see here, once this player receives the ball, it draws in our left back defender. And once that happens, it frees up their right wing to make a free run and make an easy pass for an open player. After which time, what happens is, since our left back had to go out and protect, it also now drew our center back over to defend the ball, leaving a free runner in the middle of the field. Not only that, but now our right back is just running down the field, has no protection even for the player behind, or isn't making their run into here. So what you should be seeing is this player was drawn out, which drawed our center back, which should be here, but got drawn out to the ball. Now the other the defensive player that's left should be moving into the center space to help protect this pass that's about to happen to the forward that's making a run straight into our goal. So go ahead and delete these and run the film. Our defensive player makes a good play on the ball, which is good, saves them from making the crossover. Right, so in our next clip here, it's our throw in. And what we're showing here is just awareness of the play, and then also, again, defensive positioning. So we'll start here with the throw in. Player throws the ball in. Player makes, a touch on the ball that draws the ball away from himself. And then our defensive player sits and watches the play and lets the ball go out of bounds. So this player here, the defensive player, should have noticed the ball coming back and at least made an attempt to keep the ball in bounds, resulting in a turnover of the play. Now it's their throw in. So for this play here, we actually do a great job of covering the throw in, right? So our defensive player recognizes the open player, which is good. We have coverage on both other players in the throw in, except for this player here, but then our forward is coming to cover that player. We'll go ahead and restart it here. As you can see, great coverage. Ball goes out of bounds again. It's now their play again. And right after that, they get a second chance at their throw in. When it becomes time for us to cover, we still have an open player here. We have 3 players in the same space. So this player here is this player. Our right back should have this player behind him, which our right back does a good job of turning around and identifying this player. And our midfielder should be moving over to here. And our center back should be covering this player in the middle. So what needs to happen in this type of play, since obviously we're not in the right positions, is we need to have communication. We need to have a player telling a player that there's an open player here. So what you'll see is the midfielder identify the open player here, which is their correct play. They go out and cover the midfielder player. The right back should be covering their player. Our center back does not identify the player in the middle, leaving a wide open player for the throw in. So as you can see, the ball goes right into the middle. Player makes a great touch on the ball to keep it at his feet, makes a pass. Luckily, the player was offsides, and it becomes our kick. All right, so for the third play, we're going to identify here, again, scanning the field, awareness of where you're at, and again, our defensive positioning. So what we can show just off the bat here is we have our defensive back player who's in space, all by himself. No one is even challenging him, which is good. We have our wing, which is out wide, which is good. We have our forward in the middle of the field. We have our other wing far, spreading out the field wide. And then we have our other last defender moving up the field. So this defender here should not be leaving the space. It should be giving the person that's taking the kickoff an option over in this direction here. And then we have our central midfielder here and our other midfielder out on the other side. So all good positioning. This defender just needs to move back into the space just in case they do come on the attack. We're also in good defensive positioning. So what happens here is the player taking the free kick comes up to take the free kick. The wing even identifies his space, which you'll see here start clapping. The person taking the free kick needs to scan the entire field so that they can see where the open play is. But instead of scanning the field, continues to look downfield, smashes the ball down the field. And in this case is going to result in a turnover because it's just kicking the ball into space where white is occupying it. So had the player recognized the open player out on the wing, we would now have the ball in free space out on the wing with a play of the attacking play on our own. But in this case, since all we did was kick it down the field, it resulted in a turnover back to white. And luckily, in this case, they got a penalty for the ball hitting his head. So I'm gonna let this one run out as well, because what you see here is anytime there's a intentional header, unintentional header, or any kind of what's called indirect kick. Indirect kick means the ball has to touch another one of our players before the ball can be scored into the goal. So in this case, I am on the sideline telling our forward that you need to have someone touch the ball. No one is identifying the situation that's going on. So in this case, what we would want is just a player to come up, come over the ball and tap it with their foot, not move the ball at all. All they have to do is touch it, giving our forward the ability to take a shot on goal. But in this case, what we have is we have everybody crash the goal. So we have our defensive players. We have our center defender that's moving off here. Our other defender is off screen, which you can't see over in this direction. We have our other defender, which should be guarding the far side of the field, moving down towards the goal. We have our midfielder, who is already past our wing player, which should be in the middle of the field. So again, field awareness is very important. Positioning, staying in our positions, and identifying the play. So everybody runs away from the ball, telling them to touch the ball. Finally, a player comes over to touch the ball. Too late. We try to make a pass over to our wing. Makes a good play, and then hey, we take a great shot. Great goalie makes an awesome save on the goal. So ended up turning out to be good. But so here we go again with another one of our free kicks, and here's our defensive positioning. So as you can see in this type of defensive position, we have our center back, we have our other defensive back, and we have nobody standing over in this space here where the other defender should be. Even if they were standing up here, it would be good. Or if they were standing over here, it would be good, giving the person that's kicking the ball another option on the play. But instead, they're downfield, away from the play. And again, the person taking the free kick just smashes the ball downfield. Make a good touch on the ball. And it results in a turnover here. So as you can see, as the turnovers here. So here was our defender, right? Our defender was way up in the play, leaving this whole side exposed. So now we have two white players over here. So once the turnover happens, these two white players take off running and causes us to be on the run, trying to protect them, not in front, but trying to catch up to them to stop the play. What we also have is we have our midfielder here. So what we have is our wing, which is in the correct position, out wide on the field. The midfielder should be up on this player here. So if this does result in a turnover or becomes our play, this should be the space that midfielder is maintaining, so that one, we can have a pass to the midfielder, making a pass back up to the forward. And again, this defender should be back here so that they're guarding, the run that eventually happens here. So results in the turnover, and here we go. We're on the run, and the defender has to sprint to try to save the ball. Player gets a great shot on goal, a great open shot on goal.